say good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Welcome to this edition of To The Point. It's, of course, it's Tuesday, the 11th day of the month of, forgive me folks, I forgot my glasses for some reason. Yeah, what a morning I'm having. Anyway, let me say good morning to those of you who are viewing us via GBN TV also. They're viewing Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20. Good morning. Those of you via social media platforms, let me say good morning to you also. YouTube channel, Facebook page, good morning to you. Those of you via GBN's webpage, gbn.gb, good morning and welcome. It's Tuesday, and it's Opposition Tuesday here on To The Point. It's usually the other week that we do entertain the opposition here in Grenada. And representing the opposition this morning, we have via our Zoom platform, we have, of course, MP, the Honourable Ms. Emmalin Pierre with us this morning. She's via Zoom. In studio, we have Mr. Of course, it's Nimrod Ollivierre. Come here, get the name right. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. We have Mr. Victor Philip also representing this morning here on the program. Let me say good morning to you folks and welcome.
Thank you, and good morning to all your listeners.
All right. How's everybody doing this morning? I'm getting that. Is it the weather that everybody seems to be in that somber mood for some reason or the other?
Well, I wouldn't say somber. I think we just kind of enjoying the rain. But when rainfall is, initially we jump up and play, and then after the reality of it. But it's a welcome shower's a blessing. We needed the water, so it's welcome.
All right. Well, of course, Mr. Philip, you in St. Patrick. How's the weather like up there for you?
Just the same as right around it. Yeah, as you said, welcoming the water, especially for the farmers with the cash crop, and not only that, we understand we are going through a drought, so it much needed rain, so to fill the dams and so forth, so that we can get our heavy flow of water when we shower in and so forth.
All right. It's also the first time I'm having you on To The Point. I want to say welcome. Is it your debut edition on To The Point?
No.
You've been here before?
Yeah, I've been here before with different
capacity.
Different things.
All right. Well, my bad on that. But the first time I'm having you on my end with it, so welcome. Let me say good morning to Ollivierre and Pierre. Good morning to you. Welcome. And how are you this morning?
I am good, thank you. Good morning, GT. Good morning, my colleagues, and good morning, of course, to all of our listeners who are on with GBN this morning.
All right. Let me say welcome once again. Well, our focus this morning on the program here To The Point this morning, the opposition, of course, edition of To The Point. We want to spend some time talking about the NMP's 40th anniversary. Lots have been mentioned already about it. Yeah, there was an initial press conference that came out a couple of weeks ago, and you all mentioned the whole frame or the setup of the activities are going to be rolled out. Probably we're just going to refresh our listeners again and our viewers pertaining to the whole anniversary. But let's start the conversation of this morning in terms of what am I in terms of the anniversary, and a question comes to mind. Reasons why 40 years of the NNP, 40 years of the NNP, what does that say for the party having to celebrate 40 years of anniversary? I know who's going to gravitate to that this morning.
Well, maybe if I can start off, GT, again, good morning to you and to all your listeners. Of course, 40 years is a major achievement. 10 years younger than our independence that we're celebrating currently. And the New National Party, we are extremely excited. We are extremely proud to be celebrating 40, right? It's a big deal. And we're celebrating on the theme, NNP celebrating 40 years of resilience, progress, and visionary leadership, nurturing hope for a brighter future. So for us, this celebration is about a number of things, beginning with the celebration of those who have toiled, those who have labored, those who would have contributed so significantly to us being able to celebrate today. So all of the stalwarts, all of the women and men who have built this party, it's about celebrating them. It's also about celebrating our achievements. When you look at what Grenada has achieved, when you look at the progress our country has made over the many years, we celebrate in 50 years. And as a political organization, you just have to look around and to see the significant contributions that we have made to the development of our country. We celebrate in leadership. We've had a visionary leader over these years that have really steered the ship, has really led and led us well in terms of not just our political organization, but our nation, our country as a whole. And of course, we are so grateful to God. As we celebrate, we recognize the various challenges that we faced as a political organization in and out of government. And we look back with significant gratitude for what God has brought us through. Which is why in the theme, the word resilience is highlighted, because obviously you can think back of several occasions that our party has led this country through very, very difficult times. And I just want to pinpoint Hurricane Ivan, the COVID crisis, the financial crisis that we met this country in 2013. So we are very excited about this celebration. And celebrate. We are indeed going to celebrate. But as you notice in the theme, we are not just looking back, we are not just looking current, but we are also looking to the future. And as the theme says, we are nurturing hope for a brighter future. We believe that things are going to get better.
All right. So Nimrod, you being the chairman of the committee, tell us about some of the, a bit more in terms of, specific activities that are coming up in the next couple of months and so forth, if you can.
Sure. Well, as you stated earlier on, we are already on the way with activities. In the immediate future, starting actually this Sunday, Father's Day, the Women's Arm would be having a women's conference. So that's exciting. Then we'll be having a youth panel discussion where we get in the younger minds involved, and there's a number of topics that will be discussed at that discussion, right? Obviously there would be a political component to it, where you talk about the youths and their political involvement, youth development and the such, youth in sports opportunities, and we would also touch on topics like crime, sexual abuse, violence, party perspectives, and stuff like that. Bullying and topics like that are current and affecting the young people of our nation today. So we have that. Then that will be followed by a bus ride for the elderly, where we take the elderly in the different constituency. We take them around the nation, give them a little sightseeing, a little entertainment.
All right.
Then we go into the month of July, around July 13th. The New York chapter of the New National Party will be having a banquet in Brooklyn. And the 14th, we have a massive bingo in Victoria Park in Grenada here. So it'll be a big bingo in Victoria Park here. And the same 14, there will also be a town hall in New York, where our political leader and former Prime Minister, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, will be the guest of honor, both for the banquet and addressing the town hall in New York. So it will be Dr. Mitchell as well as some other prominent and stalwart MPs and members of the party. Later on in July 28th, we have a cookout. We call it the Gathering. So it's a cookout and games that will be at the Alston George Park in Victoria. We
kind of spreading the
thing around. We go into different constituencies. And August 10th, we have another fundraising / carnival fete that will be at our Secretariat grounds in Tempe. And August 15th, we have a massive back-to-school drive where we'll be going to each constituency and distributing school supplies as the young ones get ready to go back to school in September. So that's just a few of the stuff in the immediate future.
All right. One of the highlights of the events I've heard you just mention, Mr. Nimrod, is that, of course, elderly outing with the bus ride for the elderly. Let me ask Mr. of course, Victor, as relation to that, share some thoughts on that, in terms of the thinking behind this particular way of getting the elderlies involved and taking them on this ride.
JT, thanks for directing that question to me, because it goes straight to my heart.
Yeah.
I'm one person that pays the utmost respect to the elderly, because I think sometimes we the younger ones do not realize the sacrifice the elderly had made for we to enjoy what we're enjoying today. So I am all for the elderly, and in a situation like that, you have to say, even 40 years ongoing, who did it for us? You understand? So you have to make sure that the elderly make sure that they are part and parcel of what is going on. Let them have some enjoyment. Not only that, where we can sit and chat with them, and they can share some of the history, not only politically, but otherwise, economically and so forth. Yeah. So that we can bring ourselves to a brace, because sometimes we think that we're moving on and forward, but we cannot move on if we don't understand the past, appreciate the past.
Agree
and so I'm very happy that is going on, and we will always do what is best to make sure that we take care of the elderly, especially.
So true. Sometimes these activities are always catered to be for young people, because we feel young people are the ones that wants to move around more. And sometimes the elderly are a bit shut in, and they're always home and stuff like that. Most of them are retired, or for some reason they just don't get that active anymore. They're just not that active anymore. So opportunity like that will certainly be a great incentive for them. Tell me once again, are these activities open just NMP people? If I could say it in regular Grenadian speaking, is it just NMP people you want attending this? Or just the NMP supporters? Is this open to the Grenadians as a whole?
GT, I think you know the answer for that. You know that the NMP has always been and will continue to be a welcoming party to all, right? The house is big, the roof is big, and we welcome each and every one. So absolutely not. It's not just for NMP people, it's for all Grenadians here, local, abroad, and in the diaspora. So if someone wants to take a trip down to come and celebrate and to partake with us, we welcome it. But it's not closed off to only NNP members. It's open to all Grenadians.
All right, well, that's great. It doesn't matter your political affiliation.
Does not matter.
It doesn't matter. You're certainly welcome. Or even though your religious denomination, you're welcome.
That's right.
All right.
JT, added to that, you have to look at it. If you're talking 40 years, NNP has did a lot for individuals, Grenadians on a whole for 40 years. And despite we may have the color party, different parties, some people do appreciate the good things that NNP has done. Yeah. And I don't see no problem in having them celebrate that, It's just something like independence. It should be across the board. So that everybody. So NNP is like that, You come out, you want to join, we are more than welcome to have you coming. We invite you to come.
All right. We drew for a break, of course, for guests and all of your listeners. We drew for a break. Let's take it. We're coming right back with much more for you here on To The Point this morning. Stay with us. We will be right back. Don't touch it dial.
The agricultural shop at the...
As we bring you ball-by-ball commentaries of the T20 World Cup. The Cut and Drive Network, in association with this radio station, are pleased to be a part of the excitement. Join me, Andrew Mason, as I lead a team of top-class cricket commentators right through to the finals on June the 29th at the historic Kensington Oval. Cricket, lovely cricket, on this radio station. You got a date, so don't be late.
This moment is all that I've been dreaming of. Well, focus. Solve your conflict in a different way. Choose peace and love instead of all bloodshed. Leave and non-divide. You see the violence thing left.
Make the change.
Make the change.
Make the change. Make the change.
Make a change.
Make the change.
Make the change.
End the gun violence now.
Just please give life a chance. Let's stop the violence. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for Grenada to laugh again. Heritage Theatre presents Spice Laugh Comedy Bash 2024, Saturday, June 22nd and Sunday, 23rd June at the Trade Center in Grandance, and on Sunday, 30th June at the Deluxe Cinema in Grenville. Showtime, 7 p.m. every time, featuring some of Grenada's best ambassadors of comedy. Robert White.
I'll line up behind the yellow for 9 elections straight. I changed color in time to lose the last election. Why? Because I'm always on the losing side.
Dillion Walters.
It's the McQueen I couldn't take. I don't tell Molly didn't know.
Kareem Alexis and other outstanding comedic performances, all coming to knock you off your seats with laughter. Get your tickets now. Bring out the entire family. Tickets are $60. It's time for Spice Laugh Comedy Bash 2024.
The place go flood with laughter.
Get ready, Grenada, for the 18th annual Hubbard's Legends in Concert. Hubbard's Legends in Concert, as we raise our hands and give thanks. On Saturday, October 26, 2024, Thanksgiving weekend, Grenada Trade Center, 7:30 p.m. Hubbard's Legends in Concert. Stay tuned to GBN for more.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. To the point here, Classic Radio and GBN TV. Those of you who are viewing and listening via social media platforms, once again, welcome back. Welcome back to my guests. Once again, let's get back into the conversation this morning. My next question is, of course, welcome back, Ms. Pierre. My next question is directed to you, Ms. Pierre. Let's you kick off. I always get to let the ladies start things off. So let's kick this off in this segment with you. Ms. Pierre, you mentioned a wee bit in terms of the youth activities. You mentioned, of course, women's activities. What are the objectives I should say for both activity, and who will be participating in this particular events when you mention in terms of the youth activity and women activities?
So let me just start by saying that the women's activity taking place on Sunday is primarily representatives from the various constituencies, members of the party. And as Nimrod would have said before, most of our activities, we are quite open to having the participation of all Grenadians. Of course, we would not mind having a few invitees on Sunday, but it's primarily women of our party sitting to discuss the current and future, and of course, looking at ways in which the party can continue to provide support for women, as many of them are experiencing very, very difficult times, and we want to be there to offer whatever kind of encouragement, whatever hope we can provide to them, whatever strategies, coping strategies we can share with them. It's a very important time, and particularly continuing to view and to look at the role of women in the building of our party. Over the years, women have played a very significant role in building the new national party, and we continue to appreciate, continue to encourage, and continue to facilitate the growth of the movement of women within our party, embracing the contribution and the role, appreciating the role that men are playing. It's also a very significant day for men, and we want to celebrate that as well. In terms of youth, I'm quite sure, understand the very significant role that youth play in our party. I always say, if you look back over the years and you look at the kind of way that the new National Party has embraced and not just speak about youth, but really facilitated the growth and development of young people throughout this country, not just in the political sphere, but also in the national development, the financial contributions and investments that our party in government would have facilitated and led for our our young people, we always have a space at the table for the active participation of young people in the life and the development of the party. And so, the conversation, as Nimrod would have hinted before, would not just be speaking about youth and youth development initiative, the youth development agenda, but it would also be looking at the party and getting from young people themselves the way that they see things as going forward, the future of NNP, with young people continuing to play a pivotal role, a very crucial role, but expanding the role of young people in the development of this noble organization. And I'm excited about both activities. I'm sure my colleagues are, because we do understand the very important role that these sectors play in the development of our party. So we are looking back, we are looking current, and we are looking ahead. And I just want to add to that contribution the point, I believe it was Nimrod or Victor made earlier, as it relates to engaging. Now, while these activities would not feature on the national calendar as we celebrate 50 years, if you look back at the 50 years, one must admit that most of the national development that we have seen in this country took place under the leadership of the new National Party administration. And so for us, as we celebrate Grenada, as we celebrate 50, we also see an important space in which we celebrate the contribution of the NNP to national development. And for that reason, we believe that every person, regardless of your political affiliation, regardless of which party you choose as preference, we believe that there is a place in the celebration for you. And we embrace and we invite everyone to be part of our celebrations.
All right. Ms. Pierre, I want to ask you another question that just came to mind, and you were kind of going along the direction and the question I have. The significance of the 40th anniversary for the new National Party in the current state of the party being in opposition, the significance of this anniversary for the party. If you could, of course, answer that for me.
Well, I always view opposition as a place where you have a lot of time to reflect on the past and prepare for the future. So celebrating 40 in opposition gives us an excellent opportunity to look at what we have done before, look at the current situation in our country. And of course, there's so much to speak about when we speak about the current situation in our country. So whether we're speaking about the situation as it relates to healthcare and so many issues that people are facing in that regard. And I always like to qualify the statement to say not that we did not have issues before, but some of the issues we're facing now, definitely persons can say to you that we are concerned of the declining state of the healthcare sector. And we are seeing some things there. Let's just use a basic example, the availability of basic medical supplies. And I can use countless examples just from my own constituency. I've heard them reiterated nationally, listening to people. There are major concerns there. The state of security, national security, the fear of crime, the number of issues surrounding national security, and of course, issues relating to the economy. So this is an excellent opportunity for us in opposition to look back, look at where we are, and to strategize for the way forward.
I also want to throw the same question out to the two gentlemen in here also. You being younger members of the New National Party, you was not there from the initial stages of the party, but I'm assuming you were in the age range of knowing when the NNP started to where it's at now. How do you feel to be associated with this particular anniversary and able to share in it also?
Well, for me, I have to say, well, as normal, as young people in my time growing up, you don't particularly wanted to be in politics, except, well, of course, during the revolution time, you get involved because there was so much activities. After that, you went back in the thing. But growing older and realizing what it is, championing for change and questioning why is it that people is not studying about the youths, and I'm forever been a community person involved in basketball, sports, the kids, making sure they are activities together. I decided, older persons make me realize that. They say, well, if you're trying to advocate for that, and you can't see it, you have to be there. You have to be involved so they can hear your voice directly. So I started to look at the philosophy of the parties, and that's where NNP embraces me, because truly that's how I see it. I actually see Dr. Kit Mitchell and the NNP party and his philosophy that embraces two parts of history. He embraces the Gary version and also the revolutionary version, and make it work. And the whole thing about that, what I saw, the vision I see from that, is to making sure that the vulnerable and those who don't have, get involved, make sure that they help. Because it's always good to say, and we always have the saying, that it's better to give a man, teach a man to fish than to give him a fish. And I saw that embraces NMP, so I take hold of that, and I'm happy to be there. It has shown me I learned to develop, and I'm looking to develop more through the NMP.
All right. So Nimrod, your association with the NMP now being that 40th anniversary and being a younger member of the party, tell me.
So, being 14 years old at the time when the NNP was formed, that was a very interesting time, because at 14 you're not really thinking politics, although or getting involved in politics so deeply, although there was always the thought of serving. I always since in my GBSS days, myself and I, you probably wouldn't like it, but I throw the name out, myself and Timothy Antoine and Nisona Whiteman and the like. So we always thought about contributing to our country and serving our country. Didn't really quite know what form it would take, but with the NNP coming about, from a very early age, I was able to realize that party was what you call a grassroots party. And when you look at the leaders and other members of the party being in the community and among the people, and 16 years old, and you lime in a pot and you see the political leader, Dr. Mitchell, at the time, or at the time you remember the government coming and eating from the same sort of calabash or bowlie or whatever it was. So that left a lasting impression. I'm like, these men achieve so much in life already, and yet they're able to come and relate with you. So even after I migrated, I stayed in touch and followed and recognized the transformation that the new National Party did for Grenada, because we know what Grenada was in the 70s and 80s, and seeing what the new National Party government was able to do with electricity and water and the likes. It had a lifelong lasting impression in me, and so I made the decision very, very early to be a member of that party and to use my services in a way to help contribute towards the further development of Grenada.
All right, let's go back a wee bit into this. The New York activities. Tell us a wee bit. Tell us about the highlights of these activities taking place up there.
Well, the New York activities, as you know, the New National Party always had a vibrant chapter and members in New York. So, of course, with 40 years, they wanted to be a part of it, and so the banquet was organized by the New York chapter, and it's very exciting. I'm hearing Grenada and people calling me about it already, and then that followed with the town hall the next day. The political leader, they're calling for him in New York. They're calling for the new National Party. I think New York is probably more ready for change in Grenada here than probably some of us in Grenada here. Yeah. So the New York component is really motivated, and you have the broader New York chapter, and then there's the Carriacou the Carriacou part of it, and they're even highly more motivated. So we are excited about it. I will miss it. I wouldn't be there, but I'm sure the political leader, Dr. and former Prime Minister, Dr. Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, Sister Emmalin, brother Peter, and a couple more others, they'll do all right. I have to stay here because we have the bingo. So.
All right, nice to hear that. Of course, Mr. Philip, just another question I want to pose to you. Of course, with all the activities that of course, Mr. Nimrod had mentioned, tell us any activity that you want to highlight. Like specialists, my mind is kind of centered around the western side. Listed on some of the activities. Tell us as it relates to St. Mark's. For starts, and maybe there's any of the activities specifically that you may want to highlight being part of the 40th anniversary.
Yeah. Well, this I would like to highlight the St. Mark's Father's Day. Day, and it's come at a pivotal time because Father's Day is right there. Mm-hmm. So that is in another one that we really have to get. Fathers like to do things by themselves. Most of the time you get fathers doing the things by themselves, cook a pot, had some drinks and whatever, play some music. But I think this one will give fathers an opportunity to have mothers and ladies around, helping appreciate the fathers, and it's not every father that is bad. We have a lot of good ones, and we have to highlight them as well as encourage those who nothing, so they could step in line or create the environment so that they can see, no, I have to be. Because when they go to those activities, I personally, for one, JT, I have a special need daughter. She born with a rare condition where her limbs and stuff and things, so she cannot walk on that. But I'll always be there, and I'm proud of her, and she's doing fine. And it let people shows that you don't have to have a good relationship with the mother, but you have to take on your responsibility as a father. It don't matter what, you have to be there and guide and direct them. So we have those conversations to share, because when with each other, all of us have our different experiences, but by sharing, through the process of entertainment and stuff like that, you might get it bouncing off on others, and I appreciate that part of it, because most of the time the fathers are left out, and I'm happy that we are involving the fathers, involving the youths, involving the mothers, and especially the elderly again. So I'm very much appreciative of that. Added to that, within the own constituency, my constituency that as I'm in charge of, we are looking to do something on a different day also, because everything can happen on the day, but we can organize other little things and bring people together and let us celebrate, and look at the same time, having a conversation about where do we go from here. Adding in the mix the 50 years of anniversary. What next for us, as a party, as a people. All right.
We speak a lot about the activities on Father's Day, but somehow the women part of it have to be so dominant in it.
Yes.
So I guess we are all teaming up against Miss Pierre this morning, but...
the new National Party has always... embrace the women of our nation and have always had them in the forefront. So we have not shied away from that. As a matter of fact, I think last election there were seven female contestants in the last election. So the new National Party knows how to take care of the men of this nation. All right.
But Pierre, let me ask you this particular question once again. I've noticed the focus a lot is on June, August in terms of the activities coming up. I know September to December, the highlight of the anniversary will be in the month of December, if I'm right about the information that I've heard. Tell us a wee bit. Of course, the focus. I know we spoke a lot about June to August. The ideas of plans yet for September. If there's anything organized between September and December to come?
Right. So there are activities in every single month going towards the end of the year until December. And and some of them may not be referred to as major national activities. So you may not even hear of them being mentioned nationally, as some of them may be constituency-based activities. But as it relates to the national, there are quite a number of activities within the period that you mentioned, and probably I'll just highlight a few of them. I don't think mention was made as yet of the banquet. And this is going to be a very formal activity, fundraising activity. And of course, it would be open to every person with an interest. And one of the highlights of this particular activity, as I mentioned before, the issue of recognition, the stalwarts, those who have labored, those who have toiled, those who would have made significant contributions, whether they've served in various capacities, that night would be a very special night to honor and to recognize some of these people. In addition to that, we want to specially recognize a former member of parliament, and that is no other person than Elvin Nimrod, former member of parliament in Carriacou. And so I'm sure you've heard all reference to St. Mark's and St. John's and everywhere else. There is a special activity or activities planned for Carriacou. That's in the month of November. So in October, the banquet. In November, we're going to be journeying to Carriacou. As a matter of fact, some of our supporters would be able to travel to Carriacou with us by boat. And we are going to be doing two major activities there. We are going to be having a memorial service for Brother Nimrod in Carriacou. And of course, we are going to be having a fun day that's going to involve both our supporters and the people of Carriacou, as well as persons from Grenada who would go up for this fun part of the activity. So we have the memorial service, and then we have some fun activities bringing our people together. Of course, nationally, again, in November, we have a national church service where we would be attending a church, and we would be celebrating. As I said, God has been really good to us, not just as a party, but as a nation. And we believe that we ought to celebrate that. So in November, we will be having church service, particularly for that purpose. And on the 1st of December, right, Sunday the 1st of December, there would be a national rally, a mass rally that the party would be having. And specifically, the whole objective of this is to provide hope, and to speak to New National Party, the future as it relates to the New National Party, what we are prepared to offer, what we are prepared to give, what additional we are prepared to do as it relates to our national development as an organization, right? So we will be having that mass rally on the 1st of December. We are going to be having T-shirts on sale, and we are expecting our supporters, to wear our 40th anniversary T-shirt, not just for that activity, but we'll also have a NNP Day, which is the 3rd of December, the actual day that our party assumed office in this country. And we are going to be recognizing that day in a very special way. We'll be expecting all of our supporters to purchase a T-shirt for that day. But persons who may just wish to identify and to recognize the contribution that NNP has made to the development of Grenada, they can choose to do so by wearing something green on that day. And then we culminate in the celebrations on the 7th of December with a gospel concert. And as I said, it's a period of celebration. It's a period of looking back. It's a period of reflection, a period of looking, where are we going as an organization? Where are we going in relation to a continued commitment to the development of this country?
Thank you very much, Pierre. We do for a break. We're going to take a break. When I come back, maybe this question I want to ask, and I want all the members members to, of course, I guess you would need to, of course, ponder on it a wee bit. The future of NMP as it stands now, what's the projection for the future of NMP, from the 40th anniversary now to where it's leading to? Maybe you could ponder upon that. When we come back, we probably could get some answers from our panelists here. So let's take a break, folks. We're coming right back.
Good day, ma'am. What would make it easier for you to reduce your plastic waste?
Definitely incentives for bringing back plastic bottles, like discounts and loyalty points. It would motivate me to recycle more.
I think if restaurants let us use our own takeout containers, it's all about convenience,
It would help if manufacturers start using less packaging altogether.
Better infrastructure, more investment in recycling facilities, and innovative solutions to tackle this growing problem of plastic pollution. It's not just about individual action, it's about systemic change.
With our population growing and plastic becoming more prevalent in packaging, we have to equip our waste management agencies to keep pace with change and handle the load.
There you have it, folks, straight from the streets. People are willing to do the responsible thing if we create the conditions for them to do so.
Recycle OECS. Green actions, blue oceans.
This moment is all that I've been dreaming of.
Well, focus. Cricket, lovely cricket, as we bring you ball-by-ball commentaries of the T20 World Cup. The Cut and Drive Network, in association with this radio station, are pleased to be a part of the excitement. Join me, Andrew Mason, as I lead a team of top-class cricket commentators right through to the finals on June the 29th at the historic Kensington Oval. Cricket, lovely cricket, on this radio station. You got a date, so don't be late.
This moment is all that I've been dreaming of. Well, focus.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to the point here. Classic Radio, GBN TV. Welcome back to those of you, of course, viewing and listening. I did throw that particular question out, of course, before the break. It did to Ms. Emmalin, Pierre, and I also want to get a feedback from you also, of course, Mr. Victor, and of course, Ms. Ollivierre here. The future of the new National Party as it stands. What are your folks' personal projections on the future of the new National Party? And now who's going to take the mantle off on that?
So if I'm going to start off on that, I think there are two critical factors, two critical elements that we must look at if we speak in the future of the party. And for me, I would flag the continued development of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. One cannot shy away from the fact, regardless of who you support, who you prefer, it really doesn't change the fact that the new National Party has made tremendous contribution to the development of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So when we speak about rural electrification, you must mention the new National Party administration. When you speak about pipe-borne water throughout the length and breadth of of this country, when we speak about transformation in telecommunications, when we speak about the road network that we currently enjoy throughout this country, you speak about major infrastructural development, the cruise ship terminus that we enjoy now, the bus terminus, the national stadium, important national features, right? We speak about digital transformation, being able to pay for certain services online, students being able to access ebooks online, all of these development in sports, right? Development as it relates to education, social development in our healthcare. Mind you that it's not perfect, will never be perfect, but when you look at the transformation, the development, the access that we have to give a lot of credit to the New National Party and what has been achieved. So number one would be, when we speak future, is that we are prepared to continue the development that we would have started in many areas, and so taking things to another level in terms of sustainable national development. Under our organization, under our party's leadership, we would have developed the National Sustainable Development Plan. And we feel very passionate about this, that whatever we do must be guided by strategy. It must be strategic in terms of the long-term transformation for generations to come. So we are still very passionate. We are still very excited about that. And we look forward to continuing the work that we have started in terms of Grenada's development. The second aspect that I would touch on, of course, I'm sure my colleagues may mention other areas, but the second area that I would want to flag is that of leadership of our organization. Again, just like we cannot dismiss the fact that the NNP and Grenada's development go hand in hand, we cannot dismiss the fact that Dr. Keith Mitchell and the leadership of NNP go hand in hand. Dr. Mitchell has made significant contribution to our nation. He is respected throughout the world. He's respected nationally for his contribution to NNP's growth and development and the growth and development of Grenada. Regardless of how you feel about the individual, that fact remains. And so we have heard Dr. Mitchell mention that he is preparing to transition out of the helm of the leadership of the party. And he is prepared to play a very critical role of mentorship and advising, the future and the way that the party goes. His wealth of experience, quite obviously, is going to be absolutely necessary as it relates to charting the way forward for this country. So the issue of transition and leadership is also another factor that would feature in our preparation and in our going forward, in our looking forward. And so the party is in a period now of preparing for transition of leadership, and we are quite happy with the progress that we are making in this particular area, and we continue to work to ensure that we continue to have solid visionary leadership, not just in our party, but as we contribute to national development. So those would be the two areas that I would flag.
All right, thank you so much. So Philip, Mr. Nimrod, your take on the future of the NNP from your personal perspective?
Well, I think the NNP is poised for a great return to leadership of this beautiful nation. I think, while we campaigned and we definitely did not thought we were going to lose the election, I think losing the election put us in a place where we were able to take a look within and see what went wrong in terms of us not achieving that goal. But I think more so also, being in opposition, you're able to compare and contrast, not just for the party, but the citizens of Grenada can compare and contrast now, because now they get to take a look and see when NNP was there and what it is now. Right? So as the political parties, the two major political parties between NNP and NDC, we can talk, but at the end of the day, what matters is the voters and how the voters are able to see whether or not they are being serviced and taken care of. And so I think that ability to compare and contrast now, where persons can take a look and see what they're getting from each political party. I think NNP is in the right position now for a great comeback. And as Sister Emmalin say, with the transition into future leadership for our party, I think the trajectory for our growth is for another 40 years and beyond.
Yeah. Well, we talk about Sister Emmalin talk about the leadership and the change within the party. I always remember my grandmother used to tell me something. May her soul rest in peace. In every disappointment, there's an appointment. You have to look for it. And I think that put us in a pivotal role to really, as I say, rethink. And when we're talking, and when they talk mention leadership, I don't even see leadership as leader of party, but I'm looking at leadership throughout every organization that we have within the party. People have served for a long time. They're there. They will always be there to support and stuff like that. But now is a pivotal role where we, as the younger ones, have to, together with the others, have to push so that we could get much younger persons with talents coming on board, opening that space so that they can come in and contribute, towards our growth and development, not only to the starting from the constituency. Every time we talk country, but I think it must start from within our villages and constituency first, and see what we want. For instance, for me, what we, the constituents of St. Patrick's, want to see. I always like to look at, Grenada is too centralized. So it's about time we look at serious investment in each parishes. So where that we can hold on with that kind of setting, we can make room for a lot of employment within the parish and have people to come down to the south. So all these have to take, and in order for that to happen, the conversation has to start among us within the constituency and within the party, and bring it forward, to the head and the leadership, so that we can get that happen.
All right. We do have a few more minutes left on the program this morning here, To the Point, and in this segment, that's where we invite our listeners and viewers who would like to chime in on the conversation this morning. We spent a couple of minutes here this morning talking about the 40th anniversary of the new national party. If there's anyone who, of course, wants to comment on any of the activities, probably you'll stay on it. You feel free to do so. 435-2041. You have the option to call in also via the WhatsApp 435-2041. Let's entertain our first caller. Caller, good morning via WhatsApp. Good morning and welcome.
Hey, good morning, GT.
Good morning to you.
Good morning to the three NNPites. Anyway, my question, I've been listening to you guys. All right, everything sounds good. Celebrating 40 years. And also, GT has a question between, I think, June to December was the program. But do you guys know that you are operating outside your constitution? And then we don't hear nothing about convention. So that's telling us that you guys are operating illegally, especially because there in the newspaper, the New Grenada, I read an article where members of the NNP party will be taking Dr. Mitchell to court to force a convention. Why so many activities going on yet without no convention? What's going on? We're hearing about the separation in the party. I want you guys to speak to it. Okay, Mr. Nimrod, last night I listened to a program and you was the first one to call. Because yesterday the rule of law took place, where Sheldon Scott was given a letter concerning the phone bill. And then it seemed like you're supporting wrong, Mr. Nimrod. Explain to the Grenadian people your position and Sheldon Scott paying back the money for the phone bill that was paid by taxpayers. And last question to Mr. Bello. Bello, you're a young man, I know you. We grew up in Sotes together. We built the basketball court during the revolution, and I heard you mention that what attracted you to the NNP party, you see plans of the revolution. Explain to me, Mr. Bello, what is the plans, what do you think to see that in NNP from the revolution that attract you, and what are you doing in the community of Sotes and St. Patrick's to help Andal to develop and to fix the breakwater project? Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. In response to the caller contribution this morning, anyone?
If I'm to address the first question as it relates to convention, I'm trying to remember, forgive me, the second point that was made, but I'm going to address the first question of what the caller referred to as operating illegally. We've addressed the issue of conventions so many times on this program, not just myself, but many other persons. Of course, when callers like those call in to speak to the issue of the new national party's convention and the need for having the convention, it just encourages me as a supporter of the party that there are persons out there who still see the new national party as a very strong party, very absolutely necessary for the development of this country. It's an encouragement because as I'm saying this, I'm recalling a period when the National Democratic Congress Party did not have a convention for quite a long period. It was years as well. And no one seemed interested in the fact that NDC was not having a convention. So it's an encouragement, and I really appreciate the fact that even persons who are not supporters of the party are interested in seeing the new national party continue to grow and develop and to be relevant to the development of Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitimatney. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the date for a national convention will be decided, as we've said before, by the national executive. There's a transition process. This is not going to be a regular convention, and that is what I think needs to be noted. This is not going to be a usual regular convention. Dr. Mission has held the helm of this party for most of the life of this party, and the change in leadership has to be done properly. It has to be done in a manner that the continuity of this party is solid and strong. And so we do not feel that we are breaking any law. The Constitution does speak about a period, but if you study leadership, you understand leadership is very situational. And when you look at the situation, right? So when you look at the strength of a leader, one is able to use an appropriate style of leadership or to operate based on the situation that they're in to navigate, right? And so when you look at the situation, the NNP has just lost a national general election. Number two, the NNP is about to transition from its current leadership. That's two. And three, the NNP has to build a solid team to face the next general election. So this is not going to be the regular ordinary convention. And so in the wisdom of the national executive of the party, the decision-making arm of the party, that process of transition has started, and that is working towards the holding of a convention, which of course the party will announce a date in the very near future. The second part of the question I honestly don't recall, so if you remind me, I can address that.
All right. I don't think I recall the second part, but I think it was more focused, of course, Mr. Nimrod. And there was a part that was, of course, emphasis was made to Bello, as he said.
I think, Sister Emmalin, I think the second part was more directed to me. And I just wanted to say, in answering the caller's question, that yes, I did call maybe the 10th caller down the line to extend my support to Brother Sheldon last night. It had nothing, absolutely nothing was said regarding the rule of law or breaking any law or whatever. It's a personal friend of mine, and I wanted to give him the support for what I thought was unjustly done in the way in which it was done. And as the host Sheldon Scott indicated, it's a civil matter that will be dealt with by the judiciary. It will be dealt with in the court. So until then, who am I to, I can't pass any judgment regarding that. Sometimes we have to, take the context, and not because who we support, whether you support NDC, that anything and everything that an NNPI does is wrong. No, there's rule of law, and if it is that the court says that hey, this is what it is and the brother has to do this, it will be taken care of. It's not the end of the world. We have more serious problems in this nation now with the violence among the youths and the amount of guns that are in this country than stuff like that. So I would love to see more press conference by the administration addressing the amount of guns and the youth violence that are taking place in this country. And Sister Emmalin, I applaud you for the answer that you give. And I'm an avid fan of history and do a lot of reading. And I could be wrong. I've never heard of any court forcing any political party to have a convention. So I think it's important that we address stuff like that. And I mean, the caller said that he read it in the paper. So you need to check your source, because sometimes not everything that in these papers is what even bother reading.
Okay, for me, the caller had called on me to talk about St. Patrick's, and what I see, as I said, I saw part of the revolution and part of Gary Days going together. I want to tell them those what I'm talking about is about education. I don't think we have to face the facts. I don't think if it wasn't for the revolution that I probably would have ended up in a secondary school. Because my parents didn't have the money to send me to GBSS then. So I embrace that, and I see that NMP has continued to do that, to give access to education, give access to books, give access to transportation to go to school. So in that light, yes, in the revolution, they built a basketball court, and so that they have avenue for the youths to constructively display the talents, and not now that you don't have those things going. And this is where we see that outburst of violence and stuff like that. And anybody who understands youths and the energies that they have, if you don't do constructive thing with them, they would be destructive. So these are the ways that I think. And the other one, he talked about the breakwater. What I could tell him is that from what I know, that studies has been done for the breakwater, designs has been done and has been approved, and one has been approved, and all had been left. NMP didn't continue, so it is there. And I would hope that the powers be it look into it and use that, because yes, it is a serious matter that we have to look into.
All right. Let's entertain our final caller on the program this morning, and then we get some closing comments from everyone. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning. Let's hear your contribution, please.
A pleasant good morning, GT. How are you doing this morning?
Doing pretty well, sir. Go right ahead, please.
Okay, wonderful. My contribution this morning, after listening much of the of what is said about the convention, now the ministers as well as the political leader has to understand that during the 2013 and 2018 elections, it was not all the supporters of the new national party. There was a fraction that people like myself, we came over with. We were brought over based on certain things that we saw happening in the country and we wasn't satisfied with. Now, a convention is due to be held. There is capable people, in my vision, to take that party forward. And to me, and most Grenadians, people who sit back, will be looking on. The perception that we are getting is that some people or some fraction, they don't want to call the convention because they are not in favor of certain people or certain fractions that may put up themselves for leadership or may want to lead this country forward, because we're going on a 2-year basis right now. It's 2 years. I've been back, and myself and others, and we've been looking on. We're watching to see, well, who is going to take the challenge and who's going to come forward and say, hey, this is where we plan to take the party within the next few years up to a general election. And up till now, we see a certain mamagism going around. People just keep saying this, they're saying that, and we're not seeing no sense or no sight of certain fractions of that same party giving other people a chance to come forward and lead this party into a next general election. It seems like to me it's a game that is being played, and it's exhausting the patience of some of us, because we know that they're capable people. 15, for any party to get 15 seats in a general election, it has to do a collaboration of both the National Democratic Congress supporters and the new National Party supporter. You must have a swing. And if the party continues going on this way, then maybe the next general election we may not even have the support that we need. Some people just stay away altogether from voting. And secondly, the issue of gun violence, as Brother Ollivierre has spoken about earlier on. As we know, it was just a matter of time for these things to start reaching our show. However, most of the gun violence crimes that we have going on here, and we talk about the youth. And as a young person last time, Mrs. Pierre was on that program and I called in. Oh, Miss Lewis, sorry. And I tell you all, from my experience that I'm a student, now we have a lot of underground crimes going on. And it's a strain in Grenada, it's a strain on the police force, it's a strain on everyone. And we try our best to educate. I think that the Grenadian public, as well as ministers in government, opposition ministers, some of the people that we have coming in here, artists, dancehall in particular, the music that's coming down in Grenada here, we're paying these people and them a lot of thousands of US dollars to come and preach violence, scream violence on a stage. We have beautiful soca music down here. Our music, when you have soca music playing, there is no form of violence. Why not we try to curb the airwaves? Why not try to put something in place for the artists that they bring in? Because most of these artists that come from Jamaica and Trinidad, they are gang related. And I could call a number of them. And we know that. Why not we try, government ministers as well as the opposition members? Let's see how we could curb that problem. Because we citizens out here, we're seeing it. And we're faced with that. So this is just my contribution for the morning. I hope the members of the New National Party take it into consideration.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that was our final caller for the morning. Response to the caller, and then we get some closing comments from everyone before we take a wrap for today's program. We're a little bit over time.
So let me thank the caller for the contribution. Quite obviously, you can sense his interest and his passion. And as I always say, it really encourages me as a member of the executive of the party, the interest that persons do recognize the NNP as a party that has a significant role to play in Grenada. I don't normally hear anyone speak of other parties in this way as it relates to that concern, even when their convention is not held for a period of 2 years. Nobody seems to care about that. Now, let me just make the point as it relates to the convention and the issue of faction. The caller referred to such. I have no clue what the caller is speaking about in that regard. When it comes to matters of convention, when convention would be held, where it will be held, matters relating to the execution of the convention, that is determined by the executive. And the executive of the party meets at least once per month, sometimes more than once per month. And this is a meeting in which every single person who serves as an invitee or an executive member has an opportunity to speak, to express their views, to take decisions as it relates to the convention. Most meetings, there is a conversation or an update as to what is happening as it relates to this particular subject. I would agree with the caller. Patience is needed. I believe the party knows exactly what it is doing. The executive knows what it is doing and continues to work towards that. And we are working towards, as I said before, holding a convention in which the party comes out stronger. That is the key thing. A convention in which the party comes out stronger. On the subject of the issue of violence, and I'm quite sure Brother Nimrod would make his closing comments surrounding that, I just want to disagree with the caller in that I do not believe that the best is being done. I do not believe. As a party, we will support, and we've said this, we would support any initiative, which is why we supported the bill that came to the parliament surrounding the gun amnesty. We didn't take a political view of this. We have concerns about it, but we supported it, and we gave advice, we gave suggestion, because anything that can reduce the alarming, increasing rate of gun violence in this country, we would support it, right? But we are saying there are so many things that this government can do in addition to a gun amnesty, right? The issue of addressing the port of entry. The government said it knows where most of the guns are coming from and where it is passing to get into. So we are saying, what have you done since then? as it relates to the port of entry. We are asking the question, what is the situation with the leadership of the Royal Grenada Police Force? Are police officers more motivated today than they were in June 2022? Is the leadership of the Royal Grenada Police Force stronger today than it was in June 2022? Are people feeling safer today than they were feeling in June 2022? These are the things that we are saying requires strategic intervention on the part of our government. And we are very concerned. We have offered our support. We are doing what we can. We are visiting the blocks. We are engaging young people. We are speaking to different people in this country. But we are saying leadership is lacking on this subject of gun violence. And I really do hope, I pray, that the government moves swifter, engaging our young people and putting all of the structures in place to really seriously address this issue. So I'll allow Brother Nimrod and Brother Victor
and I beg of you to be a bit brief because we drew for time.
Thank you, Sister Emmalin. And I too want to register my disagreement with the caller. I hear your concern, but we have to be more apprehensive than just saying we know it was coming and there's nothing we can do. That same sentiment was echoed by the leadership of this country, and that is a problem. You can do something. If you know the problem is coming, you are supposed to be prepared for it. You're supposed to provide resources to help minimize and to mitigate the coming problem. So the current administration has a fundamental right to ensure that the police force is prepared for what is coming. But to sit back and say, we know the guns is coming and there's nothing we could do, that is a fundamentally flawed position to take. And I again want to use this opportunity to call on the administration, call on the government of Grenada, motivate the police force, provide them with the resources, engage those of us that can offer to help so that together we can come together and take care of the pending problem or the problem that we are facing in this Grenada as it regards to firearms.
So, Philip, any closing comments from you or any contribution you want to make? More or less, let's get a closing contribution because we're a bit over time, a wee bit. So maybe
thank
just
you
some
for the
closing
extra
contributions.
time. I myself want to chime in when it comes to the crime thing. I would like to reach out to the present government to say continue to put things in place and avenues for the young people to engage themselves constructively. We know our young people like the likes of basketball and football and cricket and stuff like that and sports like that. And I think we need to refocus on those things and have more competitions and stuff like that going on where they can take the beat out on the court rather than at one another physically. So I would like to call on them to try to do those things. It really helps, and I would like to see something doing that because it's not nice to see how our youths have to be what they are doing today.
All right. I want to thank you folks for being with me this morning on the program. I know a highlight of our conversation this morning was on the 40th anniversary of the NMP's anniversary, and I certainly hope as the weeks and days and weeks ahead comes along and the months ahead comes along, we will have more good discussion as it relates to that. Thank you folks once again, and all the best.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey folks, that's how we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point, a bit of an extended version. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Until we have another edition, have yourself a good one folks. Goodbye.